Here we go. Today's easy breezy limit lesson. 3.1 radian measures. So our objectives today are to define a radian measure, to be able to convert between degrees and radians, and then trig function values of angles and radians. So you remember how we did our unit circle? And I said we're going to leave those blanks in our unit circle. We're going to learn how to fill those blanks in. Okay, that's what we're doing. And then our unit circle will be complete. Okay. Now, when we complete our unit circle, we're going to have a unit circle quiz next week. So you have between now and next week to memorize the unit circle. Okay? Huh? You can tell them on your own, but not right now. But right now, that won't be up there. Or be covered. But you have between now and next week to memorize the unit circle. So can we use a notebook? No, you got to memorize it. It's the word memorize. Yes. All right. So up first, what is a radian? So an angle with a vertex, with this vertex at the center of a circle, and it intercepts an arc on the circle equals in length to the radius of a circle has a radian of 1. So what this is saying is the relationship between the angle measure and the radius. Okay, the relationship between the angle measure and the radius. Because we talk about a unit circle, that means your radius is typically what? 1. Does that make sense? Because when we refer to the unit circle, a unit means 1. That's why it is that. Okay. How do you convert? It is easy peasy, lemon squeezy to convert between the two. Okay. So when you're converting between degrees and radians, to go from a degree to a radian, you're simply going to multiply whatever degree you have by pi over 180. We're going to multiply by pi or not. No. I swear I highlighted it. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, see, I told you I highlighted it. You're going to multiply by pi over 180. Okay. When you're going the other way, from a radian to a degree, you're going to multiply by 180 over pi. Okay. The goal is to cancel out one of the others. So when I'm going from degrees, I'm trying to cancel out the degrees and I'm left with the radian. When I'm going from radians, I'm trying to cancel out the radians and I'm left with a degree. No. I haven't taught it to you. You may have touched on it in geometry. Okay, so those are the two rules that you got to remember. D to R, pi over 180. R to D, 180 over pi. D to R, pi over 180. R to D, 180 over pi. Got it? Okay, so up first, we're going to do 45. So this is one of the angles from your unit circle, right? So I'm going D to R. Does that make sense? So we're going to multiply by what? Pi over 180. We're going from D to R. So we're going to multiply by pi over 180. Okay?
Oh, we're going to put that in the calculator?
You don't need to. You can do it without a calculator. Okay? Now, if you are using a calculator, you do not put pi in the calculator. Pi does not go in the calculator. Okay? We do not put pi in the calculator. Got it? But we're going to be left with this pi over 4. The reason being is, what's 45 over 180? Well, when you think about 180, 45 is 1/4 of 180. Does that make sense? 45 is 1/4 of 180, right? So that's why it reduces to pi over 4 radians.
I'm not going to look at that and be like, oh,
Okay, I'm glad you said that. So the other way to think about it is just mathematically reduce the fraction. If I have 45 over 180, they're both divisible by 9. That reduces to 5 over 20, which reduces to 1/4, which is pi over 4. So if you don't want to think about it in terms of where it's located on the circle, then you think about it in terms of that. Okay. Now, if there is no decimals given in your degree, then you're giving the exact fractional value of your radian. Okay, we're going to do calculator when we get here to 249.8 because there is a decimal given. Does that make sense? All right, 270. So now we're on to 270. Again, we're going D to R. So we're going to multiply by pi over 180. Okay, so you're asking yourself, you're saying self, what is 270 reduced over 180? Those cancel out. And what do we get? -3 over 2. So therefore, your radian value is going to be -3 pi over 2. Okay. When you're given a decimal, that means you're putting it in the calculator. Okay. When you're given a decimal, you're going to plug it into the calculator. We're going to go to our calculator. You only need to be in degree mode if you're doing trig function. And there's no trig function. Okay, so we're going to put it in. I don't know why I'm there. Second, quit. So I'm going to put in 249 and 8/10 times. And I'm going to put in pi, second, power, carry button, divided by 180. The carry button above divide, that's going to be your pi. So I'm going to type it in just like that. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to give me my approximate radian value.
Are you writing all those numbers?
Nope.
Really?
How many significant values were there? There's 4. So how many do I need to put in my answer? 4. Okay. How do you feel about going from degrees to radians, D to R, without a calculator and with a calculator? Pretty good? Doable? Okay. All right, now we're going to go the other way. Okay. So now we have radius 2 degrees. And what did we write down we're going to use for radius 2 degrees? 180 over pi. So we're going to multiply that by 180 over pi. And again, it's a game of simplifying. Notice how you have a pi in the numerator and a pi in the denominator. So they're going to do what? Cancel out. Can I reduce anything else? They have to be opposite. So they can't both be in the numerator, but I can do 4 and 180. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. What's 180 divided by 4? 45. So this reduces down to 45. All that I'm left with, I just multiply. Okay. We cancel out the pi because there's in the numerator and the denominator. We reduced 4 and 180 by dividing them both by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 180 divided by 4 is 45. So now all we're doing is left to multiply is 45 times 9. And that gives me what? 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 4 is 40. So we're going to be left with 405 degrees. This would more than likely be on a non-calculator part of your test. I'm so serious. We got to have those basic math skills. That's what we're going to build on. I'm not answering nonsense. All right, let's try it again. So we're going from radians 2 degrees. So we're going to multiply by what? We're going to multiply by 180 over pi. What happens to our pi's? They cancel out. Now we're going to ask ourselves, can I simplify before I go? Yes. 6 and 180 have a common factor. What is that common factor? Bigger. 6. What's 6 divided by 6? 1. And 180 divided by 6 is what? 30. So this reduces down to. So all I'm left with is 5, negative 5 times 30, which equals what? Negative 150. Okay. If it's given to me in degrees and decimals, that means I can go straight to the calculator. Does that make sense? So I'm given 4 and 2500ths radians. That means I'm going to plug this into the calculator. So we're going to go to our calculator. And we're going to input 4 and 2500ths radians times 180 divided by pi. And we get and we're gonna okay. We need to be comfortable if they gave us our answer choice and a multiple choice and it had minutes, could I go between the two?
How did you get that? I didn't get.
I don't know how my 4 became a. Oh, I wrote a 5 instead of a 4. It was on me. It's on me. I said sorry. I'm human. Am I not allowed to make error? 0.5. You multiply. So if we wanted to go, you want me to go over minutes real quick? Okay. So if I needed to find the minutes, remember I'm going to subtract what the whole number. So minus 243 and then multiply by 60. And so my minutes are 30. So we subtract the whole numbers and then multiply by 60. And then I'm left with 30 minutes. And if I needed to find seconds, I would subtract the minutes. Oh, keep forgetting that I can't do things on this board. Minus 30. And then multiply by another 60. And then that would be my second. So 25 seconds. Okay. Sorry again about the 5 typo. They're right next to each other on the key. You know they are. All right, good. So can we go between the two? Awesome. All right. So agreement on angle measurements. If no unit of angle measure is specified, then the angle is understood to be measured in radians. If there is not a degree symbol or it doesn't say DEG, then it is automatically in radians. Does that make sense? So if it doesn't tell you DEG, then it's automatically we're going to assume that we're given radians. Okay. For your unit circle, remember I told you we're going to fill in some of the values. We're going to fill in our major angles. So if you have your unit circle, we're going to go ahead and put in those exact values for 0, 30, 45, 60, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So we're putting in the exact values on the blank lines that we have. Remember we had blank lines left? We're filling those in. And then we're going to talk about the other blanks. Okay. To fill in the rest of your blanks, what you're doing is you're counting by what they are. Okay. So if I'm starting at 30, I'm going to count every 30 as a pi over 6. So you have 1 pi over 6, then 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6. And as you're doing it, you're going to reduce those values. Okay. I'm going to show you in a minute on my unit circle. But I wanted to make sure you have these written in. So did we write down the 8 main ones? Okay. Okay. My bad. Remember, you're only writing the exact. Are you good? All right. Are you ready for the rest? Okay, so as you can see here, we have the rest of them going in. So when you're trying to remember your 30s, every 30 degrees, you're counting by sixes. Does that make sense? So I'm at 30, that's pi over 6. I'm at 60, that's 2 pi over 6, which reduced to pi over 3. Do we see that? I'm at 3 pi over 6, which reduced to pi over 2. I'm at 4 pi over 6, which reduced to 2 pi over 3. I'm at 5 pi over 6, which is just 5 pi over 6. I'm at 6 pi over 6, which just is pi. I'm at 7 pi over 6, which can't be reduced. I'm at 8 pi over 6, which reduces to. I'm at 9 pi over 6, which reduces to. I'm at 10 pi over 6. And I'm at 11 pi over 6, which is the same. And then I make it all the way to 12 pi over 6, which is just 2 pi. So with your 30s, you fill in everything else. Well, with your 45s, you're going to fill in everything else. But with your 45s, we're now counting by what? 4s. So this is 1 pi over 4. This is 2 pi over 4. This is 3 pi over 4. This is 4 pi over 4. This is 5 pi over 4. This is 6 pi over 4. And this is 7 pi over 4. And then we make it back around to 8 pi over 4. If you remember your pi over your 6 and your pi over your 4, you have now all of your radian measures. Got it? All right, so I'll give you a moment to fill in your unit circle with the remaining values. Yep. I know.
Are you timing it?
What is this, like a test?
It's a quiz, right? You're gonna get a max of maybe 6 minutes.
That should be doing 1 minute.
We got it. We broke it. We got it down. 3 minutes or less. We don't have that kind of time in here, but in pre-cal, we got it down to 3 minutes or less to fill in the complete circle. Degrees, radians, and ordered pairs.
Huh? We gotta put all of this.
On a blank unit circle.
I'm gonna say it. And then
You won't be allowed your unit circle on your test. So you need to make sure you know where things are.
They did it in how long?
I think our fastest time was a minute and something.
It's terrible.
Oh, it was you went through this and you gotta go through this again? Who are you?
Because I didn't know this is what this was.
Who are you?
But second time around.
It's easier.
You said cookie.
All right.
There's
The
more.
memorization quiz is next Tuesday. Okay.
So
What
I'm
time
not
are we
gonna be here next Tuesday though.
Where are you gonna be?
I don't know.
Where are you gonna be? All right. So we'll have to pick this up before we get to what's face tomorrow. And this is just practicing using the unit circle. That's it. Okay. Yes. Let's just practice with the unit circle. And that's all we had left. All right. Good job, guys. And you thought we weren't going to get